Hey there YouTube, I'm here with a Pokemon battle today, and before I start the actual battle, I'd like to say a couple things about Pokemon battling in general, and the first thing you need is a team, and what your team is really an idea, but it starts in your head, and how I go about team building is I write down the team on paper, and I take uh, things into account like type resistances. If I've got a frail sweeper on my team, I carry bulkier Pokemon that can cover his weaknesses and just general things like that. Make sure I've got powerful physical and special attackers, powerful physical and special walls. Uh, I like to have some entry hazards, maybe a couple layers of spikes or just a layer of stealth rocks. It just makes the opponent take damage, helps in general in the long run. But after you've written your idea down on paper, you really need to test its effectiveness on a simulator, because you don't want to go through and breed all those Pokemon in the game or RNG them and just to find out that it doesn't really work. So what you need to do is go onto a simulator, work out the small things that you probably overlooked during the team building process, and make those tiny changes to your team, just little improvements, and then test those and make sure they work. And hopefully after you've done enough battles, you've gained experience with your team, and you've ironed out small little problems, and hopefully by the end you should have a fully fledged Pokemon team capable of beating other people's teams, and you want that to happen because obviously that's the goal of playing Pokemon competitively, and that's why you're watching this video. And to me, there's nothing more satisfying than having an idea of mine that I came up with beat an idea of someone else's that they came up with. And if I get lucky, then that's that. If it's because I'm more experienced, then it's because I put the time in earlier. And if it comes right down to the wire and I win because I make a good prediction, that's what really satisfies me and makes me feel good about myself. So here's the battle. I lead with my Swampert. He's the team's designated lead. He gets up his Stealth Rocks. Giga Drain is not standard on Gengar, I don't think, and I wasn't predicting it, so he takes my Swampert out. Not a tremendous loss to my team, because I got my Stealth Rocks up. But I go to my Jolteon. He switches his Gengar out, back to his Metagross, and I fire off a Shadow Ball. This is a Choice Specs Jolteon, so his Metagross probably took a little more than he wanted right there. So he switches to his Haxorus, and I have to do another Shadow Ball because I'm choiced. And here he pulls one over on me. He's carrying the Choice Scarf, but now that he outsped my Jolteon, I know that, and I send my Scissor in because he's the best thing to take an Earthquake. Get up a Swords Dance, and I outspeed him with a priority move on the next turn, take his Haxorus out. That's really nice for me because Haxorus is really powerful, and with the Scarf he's really fast too, so it's good to have him gone. I thought I could take his Metagross out in one shot, but I couldn't quite, so he got his rocks up. But my team isn't really weak to them. I don't have a lot of flying types, so it's not a big deal. Here he goes to his Rotom Wash, and in hindsight, this was a bad move, but I go to my Conkeldurr, and he uses Hydro Pump, and I didn't want to assume that he was Spexed, because that would lead to me, if he wasn't Spexed, that would lead to big mispredictions on my part, and really hurt me in the long run. So I lose my Scissor to his Gengar, and then I do what I should have done all along and go to my Melodic, which is really, if you look at my team, the only actual wall that I have, but he's really the only one I need because Melodic's a beast. Don't be intimidated by the fact that he's underused, because really he's a beast, and you'll see in this battle. He Volt switches into Sylveon, and I've never seen a Sylveon because I'm new to the 6th generation scene, but I quickly go on the internet, look up Sylveon, and I find out it's a wall, and it's fairy type. And I find out that fairy type is pretty bad for my team, and it's definitely not good that I lost my Scizor. But his Sylveon doesn't seem to be able to do anything against my Melodic. Granted, Melodic can't do anything against Sylveon either, but I'm content with that. While these two are in, they're mainly both trying to accomplish their own agenda, and Melodic's agenda, my agenda, is to waste Sylveon's Heal Bells, and Sylveon's agenda is to Wish Pass to his other teammates, because they're running low on health. But I've encountered Wish Passers with Melodic before, and I know that I can Dragon Tail them, and that really throws off their plan. So that's what I keep doing. It's pretty easy to predict. Here I make a misplay, and I thought he might stay in, but he didn't, and I got too used to using Toxic. Shouldn't have done that, but that might have been a misclick on Dark Pulse, and here I really should have known that he was Choice Specs because he didn't switch his move. But again, I didn't want to make that assumption, and I keep going for the conservative recover, thinking that he's gonna use his Volt Switch, but obviously he can't. Or it's not obvious at this point. It will be later. Spoiler alert. Toxic is Sylveon again. He Heal Bells again. That's good for me because I have more Toxics than he has Heal Bells. And I'm hoping that once I waste all his Heal Bells, I can get up a permanent Toxic on his Sylveon, and that'll make it useless as a wall. There I get a critical hit with Dragon Tail on his Gengar, and I'll point out later in the battle where that would have come into play, and you can judge for yourself if you think it mattered. I don't think it mattered, but I'll let you judge for yourself. I'll point out where it would have mattered when that comes up. Sylveon and Melodic, they're both just really defensive and not really offensive, and they can't do anything to each other, you can see. His Moonblast is slightly more powerful than my Scald, and it also has a chance of lowering my special attack, so if I can't get a Toxic up permanently on Sylveon, Sylveon will outlast Melodic in the end. I predict his Wish Pass again. Just Dragon Tail Gengar out of there. And if I hadn't gotten the crit earlier, his Gengar would still be able to survive one switch in. But due to the crit previously, his Gengar can no longer survive a switch in. So that's a little bit of a loss to him, because it could severely damage Melodic if he could manage to pass a wish to it. But he never does. And his Scizor stays in Superpowers. I Dragon Tailed him to Scizor, but he stays in. Superpower doesn't really do enough. And once he's at -2, I switch to Salamence, thinking this is my best chance to set him up. And at this point, when the battle was taking place, I believed Salamence was my only chance at winning. Thought I had to set him up, and that would be my only chance. So I try that right now. I attempt to go between Roosting and Dragon Dancing to set up on Sylveon, thinking it's a wall and it won't be able to hurt me too bad, but I was wrong and I lose Salamence. He's really a niche Pokemon, and he didn't meet anything that he could do anything against in this battle, and so it's kind of a loss. If I could have gotten him set up, it would have been nice, but I don't. So now I've just got really weak Conkeldurr and Melodic left, and so I'm thinking I've lost the battle, but I notice he can't really do anything to Melodic, so I just keep trying to stall him out, and I see how it goes. I think I might have a chance because I remind myself that Gengar is technically incapable of doing any more damage. So really all that he has that can hurt my Melodic right now is his Rotom Washer form. he uses his Gengar there as death fodder. Good play on his part. Gives his Rotom a free switch. He Volt switches out, and it does 2/3 to my Melodic, and that's a good amount of damage, really. If he had Thunderbolt, I assume he didn't have Thunderbolt, or else he would have used it. But Volt Switch did enough that if he could do it twice, he would be able to feint me. Here's Rotom Wash comes in, and he tricks me, because Rotom Wash is a really smart Pokemon, and Melodic's intelligence is just mediocre, really. So he tricks me. That lowers the utility of my Melodic, but if you look at the situation I'm in this battle right now, and then think about it, I don't have any need to use any moves except for Scald. So even though that was good play, if you think about it on surface level, if you think one step deeper, it was really a bad play because he just boosts my power with Scald, and I didn't really need to use anything except Scald anyway. So being locked into it wasn't a problem. So here we have it. I've done my very best with Melodic and got a little lucky. He made what he thought was a good play, but was actually a bad play in tricking me. So I guess his Rotom didn't have any foresight, or else it would have noticed that tricking me was a bad idea. And Melodic gets the last laugh, and you can see Melodic is a good wall, but this is with no offensive investment. He's got decent special attack, and it's enough to win me the battle with choice specs. So there you have it.